Hey there, YouTube lovers. My name is BB8, and today we are going to review Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like, you're probably wondering, BB8, the review for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl I only uploaded the other day. I know, but I didn't want to be too late to reviewing this game, and Pokemon Legends Arceus, a lot of the internet has been going on about it, and the game has sold quite well. So, we are going to review the game in this video. So, let's get into it, shall we? Just as a warning before we dive into the review, this review does contain spoilers for Pokemon Legends Arceus. So if you've not played the game yet, click away. But if you have played the game, you can crack on with the review. So, for real this time, let's get into the review. So the story starts off with the player being transported back in time to the Hisui region by Arceus, who bestows on them a device called the Arc Phone, and the task of seeking out all the Pokemon. Upon waking up, the player meets Professor Laventon, a Pokemon professor working for the Galaxy Expedition team, who tells the player that they fell out of the mysterious space-time rift in the sky above Mount Coronet. After helping Laventon catch his 3 runaway starter Pokemon, they are escorted to Jubilith Village, where they meet Ray, or Akurei, the professor's assistant and a member of the Galaxy Team's Survey Corps. Since the player has no place to stay in, the Survey Corps Captain Silene accepts Professor Laventon's request to let them join the organization, offering them a place to stay in and food in exchange for working for them. If they pass a trial set up for them, to help them pass a trial, Laventon gives the player one of the starter Pokemon they caught earlier. After passing the trial of catching a Bidoof, a Starly, and a Shinx, the player is formally accepted into the Survey Corps and given a mission of completing the Pokédex. While exploring Hisui, the player learns that a mysterious lighting striking down from the space-time rift they fell out of is causing the noble Pokemon around the region to go on wild frenzies and attack people. The player is given the mission to visit each of these noble Pokemon, each of which are overseen by a warden belonging to one of Hisui region's 2 clans, the Diamond Clan, led by Adaman, and the Pearl Clan, led by Iridia. Each of these clans worship a deity they refer to as the Almighty Sinnoh, which Hisui is known as Sinnoh later on, but I don't know why they even mention Sinnoh in the game when the regions are called Hisui, but let's carry on. But they disagree upon other clans' viewpoints, whether the deity resembles time or space during their travels. The player also has several encounters with Merchant Volo from the Ginkgo Guild, who likes studying the history of Hisui, and the bandit trio known as the Misfortune Sisters. Whenever the player defeats a noble Pokemon or befriends a rideable Pokemon, they are gifted a plate. After the player has managed to quell the last of the 5 noble Pokemon, the space-time rift suddenly expands even further into the sky above Hisui, turns red. Suspecting that the player who fell out of the same rift is somehow connected to this, so Galaxy Team Commander Kamado banishes them from Jubilife Village. The player seeks help from both clans, but they refuse to help in order to maintain neutrality with the Galaxy team. Volo, however, agrees to help the player and takes them to Ginkgo's guild. Secret settlement. The ancient retreat where they learn that an artifact known as the Red Chain could help bind the world back together and make the rift disappear. To find the necessary materials to create the chain, the player visits each of Haisui's 3 lakes and receives the necessary material from each of the lake guardians. And once all the materials have been gathered, the lake guardians combine them together to form the Red Chain. And with the Red Chain on their possession, the player returns to Jubilife Village, only to learn that Kamado has led the Galaxy Team Security Corps to the Temple of Sinnoh atop Mount Coronet to deal with the Pokémon sired at the Space-Time Rift, and the player climbs to the summit and defeats Kamado in battle, finally making him see the reason to apologize for doubting them. Depending on whether the player went to look for the Red Chain materials with Adamant or Iridia, either Dialga or Palkia appears at the temple. In my case, Origin Form Palkia was the final boss for me, since I picked Adamant and caught Dialga first. But however, when the player tries to use the Red Chain on it, the artifact is broken into pieces, forcing the player to confront the legendary Pokemon. Although the player manages to catch it, the other legendary Pokemon appears as well, forcing everyone to retreat using the clue given by the legendary Pokemon the player caught, and Leventon crafts the Origin Ball, a one-of-a-kind Pokemon created out of Red Chain fragments, and a sample of the Origin Ore, which they decide to use to stop the legendary Pokemon of Mount Coronet. The player returns to the Temple of Sinnoh, where the legendary Pokemon transforms into its Origin form, which I battled Palkia Origin form, like I just said, destroying the temple in the progress. Before challenging the player and its counterpart, after defeating it, the player uses the Origin Ball to catch the legendary Pokemon, causing the space-time rift to disappear and returning the sky back to normal. And with the appearance of both Dialga and Palkia, the Diamond and Pearl clans realized neither of them was worshipping a false deity and set aside their differences. After a feast to celebrate the player's success, Volo asks them to investigate the plates and collect ones they don't own yet. So the player travels around Hisui in the post-game and collects plates from various sources, mostly commonly receiving them from the legendary Pokemon of Hisui. Once the player has collected 17 of the 18 plates, Volo tells them of Giratina, a legendary Pokemon just as powerful as Dialga and Palkia, which was banished to another world due to its cruelty. He takes the players to the ruins of the Temple of Sinnoh, where he reveals that he was one who caused the space-time rift to appear by seeking out Giratina, in the hopes that Dialga and Palkia's appearance would make Arceus appear and allow him to use its power to create a new world. He challenges the player to a battle, but once defeated, Giratina appears by his side and challenges the player, transforming into its own Origin form midway through the battle, but once Giratina is defeated, Volo hands the player the final plate, at which the point the player's Celestia flute transforms into the Azure flute. Volo is surprised by Arceus having chosen the player instead of him and leaves in anger, swearing to one day conquer Arceus and create a new world, even if it took him centuries to do so. So that's the story. Like, in my opinion, the story's not terrible. It's just, I do think Arceus should have been the final boss, as the title suggested. I do think, in my opinion, the credits shouldn't have rolled after beating either Dialga or Palkia in their origin forms. So I should have think both of them being caught, and then a bit further into the game, the final boss would end up being Arceus, because, as the title suggests, Arceus is the title Pokemon. So overall, Pokemon Legends Arceus was a one-of-a-kind Pokemon game, taking a different approach compared to Sword and Shield. Although didn't quite make it to my number 1 favorite Pokemon game of all time, it's in my top 3. It's not the open world Pokemon game we've all been hoping for years, but still has 5 semi-open world maps to explore, and gives us some new Pokemon we haven't seen before, such as Wyadeer, Basculegion, Ursaluna, and a lot more. So I'm going to introduce something new to my reviews, being the difficulty scale. Showing the player reading this review the difficulty of the game before they end up buying the game. So, I know I was introducing numbers to my Metroid Dread review, but for my Pokemon Legends Arceus review, I'm introducing the difficulty scale, having 6 different colours depending on how difficult the game is. So, blue is very easy, green is easy, yellow is moderate, orange is hard, red is very hard, and purplish red is nightmare. So here is the final score of the game. The gameplay, I gave a 9 out of 10. Only because the gameplay does give us something we haven't seen in the Pokemon series before. Being able to throw Pokemon and Pokeballs at wild Pokemon without having to go into battle. And of course, with Ride Pokemon returning from Sun and Moon, I do think Legends Arceus does feel like Monster Hunter, Breath of the Wild, and Pokemon all merged in a blender. So for graphics, I gave a 6 out of 10, only because I have noticed a few things in the graphics while playing the game. Like, I have noticed a few white pixels around the characters, because they were easily noticeable, because I own a 4K TV, since they were easier to notice, the white pixels around the characters. Like, the graphics don't suck, like, they're alright, but I would say if we were to get another Pokemon Legends game in the future, I could see them improving the graphics. So for the story, I give a 7 out of 10. Because I don't think the story is terrible at all. I just think the only thing they could have improved on is making Arceus the final boss. And I just think a few months before the game came out, I just didn't think it made sense for the main character to have a phone, because at what point in time the game was set. But I now understand how they managed to get it back in time, because of the cutscene at the beginning of the game. So the characters, a 7.5 out of 10. Only because there are characters that might appear to be ancestors of characters from Diamond and Pearl. I do think some of the characters are alright, even though I do think Kamado was a bit of a jerk. And I do think one character reminded me of Cyrus from Diamond and Pearl. I do think the game had alright characters. And for the difficulty, I'm going to give it a hard, because the game was quite a bit difficult compared to past Pokemon games. Might not be as hard as Cuphead, for example, but the orange does suggest that the Pokemon game might be a bit harder than it looks. So overall, I give Pokemon Legends Arceus an 8.5 out of 10. Although not making it to my favourite Pokemon game of all time, but is in my top 3. I really hope they do make another Legends game in the future. And any new Pokemon to the game, such as Wyadeer, Cleavor, Basculegion, or Ursaluna, end up returning in a future Pokemon game. And I really hope the 4 I just mentioned are not one-off Pokemon. Because I do think Legends Arceus gave a few forgotten Pokemon some evolutions, which I do think giving evolutions to Pokemon that don't have one, like giving Zigzagoon Obstagoon in Sword and Shield, I do think Legends is actually a potential to give more Pokemon some more evolutions. So guys, what did you think of my review for Pokemon Legends Arceus? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss another review video in the future. A new Foes Appeared 48 will be coming on Tuesday, like I just said in a community post. So I will see you all in a future review video. BB8 out.